Thank you so much, Nullcon. It's great to be back, right? Thanks, fellow panelists. Today's topic is disruptive technologies and its impact on CISO's careers. Provocative, is the CISO dead if he doesn't catch on to the technologies? We have the world's best speakers out here. Let's challenge them. Let's have a good session. Audience, do your best. We'll try and answer those questions. Jacxine, opening comments to you, the opening batsman. What type of technologies are disruptive? So cloud is no longer disruptive, it's here. What is the disruptive technology? What should CISOs do? Your opening comments on this great topic.
Hello, hi. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Burgess, and actually, thank you to Nullcon and Antriksh. We are back after 2 years, so it's wonderful to see faces back again at Nullcon. From my side, some of the technologies that are, for me, are disruptive even ahead is the application, let's say, for example, for blockchain. We still are talking about blockchain, and it's become synonymous with cryptocurrency. But I think the applications go beyond that, and I think we have a lot to secure on that. And I'm not talking only from a perspective of an airport or of a private enterprise. I think the applications of blockchain will go out into voting tomorrow, for example. I mean, we know that pharma is built for blockchain, but voting, if you're buying property, so it impacts each and every one of us. These are applications of blockchain which is yet to materialize. So I think these are, and plus robotics, unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned ground vehicles. Now this is more from an airport application. So I think these are a few of the disruptive areas that are coming up, I think, which we need to tackle.
Thanks, Jacxine. Ankur, over to you. From a conglomerate to an airport to you to PhonePe. Okay. Jacxine mentioned about blockchain applications and unmanned aerial vehicles. From your perspective, what type of technologies are in the future which the generation out here should be aware of, you should be aware of, and you should be mastering?
Sure, I think, check, yeah. Okay, so according to me, I think I've been part of the startups in India. I'll try and focus more of Indian culture. So I think in India, disruption started with when Jio started the price war, right? We came up with internet with everyone, and that's where our disruption started in terms of Indian IT tech. So when I mentioned, right, internet, everything around internet started changing for India, right? It might be e-commerce picked up, then we came up with UPI, right? And then we came up with ONDC, probably the latest ones coming up. So I think specifically talking about India, these are the future disruptions which people should know, specifically in India, yeah.
Okay, so but which particular technology are you talking of? Are you talking of telecom or 5G, or which one do you think is more disruptive in nature?
So I think in terms of technology, I think, again, 5G will disrupt a lot for sure. When it comes to speed, using 5G, we'll have more devices connected, we'll have more bandwidth, and it will affect nearly every domain. It might be internet, e-commerce, or healthcare. So I think it will disrupt. According to me, 5G and others will be the most disruptive.
Sandeep, over to you. From airports to what he mentioned, to a tech company leading the world. Where are you preparing to be disruptive in nature, and how are you securing that journey?
Yeah, so we are an engineering services company. So what we see as destructive technologies are your autonomous vehicles, okay, digital twins. We are also talking about digital twin for the earth, right? So that is coming up. And then we have this biohacking.
I like that. Okay. Yeah. Biohacking. That's a topic for next time Nullcon session, training session.
Yeah, so biohacking is there. So these are some areas, right? And your EVs, okay, so big time.
But
okay,
EVs
autonomous vehicles.
Okay.
So I'll say autonomous vehicles which are coming up, right? So these are some areas in the engineering side where we see there's a lot of disruptions.
Kumar, save the best for the last. These guys have covered from autonomous vehicles to 5G to unmanned aerial to blockchain to biohacking to digital twin for the earth, whatever that means.
Sure.
What's your choice? And then the audience gets
Sure. So I think if I talk about the disruptive technologies, to me, I would say I think Jacxine already covered. I think blockchain is definitely a disruptive technology, and it's gonna pick up a lot. There was another session also going on in the morning. We heard the complexities of that. Same like multi-chain, cross-chain. So I think that's blockchain is definitely the one. And if I talk about from my own experience in our organization, I think we are going to make use of AR, VR by going to implement the metaverse. So for our organization, we plan to use it for collaboration, for our client visits. So that's another area that we have. And then I think we have already kind of come to an age where we are moving towards the Web 3.0, which is supposed to be full of distributed computing. I would say, which is characterized by...
Is quantum again disruptive and further off? Do you consider that?
Yeah, but to be honest, not much exposure to that how soon it's going to come and
that's
how...
That's why the topic is there.
Okay, great. But yeah, I think that these are the areas which are quite disruptive and going to change the way we are going to do the business.
Thanks. So question for the audience, right? We had the esteemed panelists talking about blockchain, 5G, digital twin for the earth, autonomous vehicles, engineering services. Are these guys really covering it, or is there something much more which you would like? Yes, sir. Two mics here, please. We need more people with mics. And ask the toughest questions.
Yeah, so the toughest I think will be...
One behind mic, please.
Will be the quantum technologies implementation, probably the QKD and the post-quantum cryptography. And as you are speaking about a digital twin, possible solution will be in a metaverse availability of people 24/7. Today I'll go back and sleep in the night, but if I'm in a metaverse, I have to be available 24/7.
So you're talking of two disruptive technologies merging together: blockchain, metaverse, which is anyway linked, but with quantum.
Correct.
Mike there, gentleman. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so I also had the similar point of quantum technology, because it is soon going to change the entire telecommunication infrastructure that we have. A lot of investment has also already gone into foreign countries, like they have a tactical network laid out and they're working on the satellite communication mostly in China. And we at India are also struggling to implement it. So what is your take on that? Is it more of a buzz, or it is something which is a much required thing?
But just to answer.
All right. Thanks. At this stage, I think we are exploring it. I think there are a few startups who are doing that. They work with the army. So you're right, the word struggling is something we all are getting our hands on that. I'm sure some countries have got it better, but 5G itself is coming inside. So the applications of next technology in India is still going to be a bit more behind on that. Sure. Mike there, please. I think Adokshaj. Adokshaj, the question in Hindi. I like the way you normally ask. Yes.
Okay, so... मेरा बहुत सिंपल सा सवाल है. आप सभी को ग्राफिक कार्ड मालूम होगा, बराबर? ग्राफिक कार्ड पहले कॉमन नहीं थे, सस्ते लैपटॉप में बिल्कुल नहीं आते थे, आम आदमी रखता नहीं था. आज की तारीख में 35,000 के लैपटॉप में भी एक बेसिक सा ग्राफिक कार्ड है जो एटलीस्ट इतना पावरफुल है कि उस पर हम कुछ जनरल पर्पस कंप्यूटिंग कर सकते हैं. एनवीडिया का क्यूडा टूल किट, एएमडी का स्ट्रीम प्रोग्रामिंग का टूल किट, इनको रिलीज हुए भी मेरे ख्याल से लगभग 10 साल हो चुके हैं. ये टेक्नोलॉजी इस टाइम पर मशीन लर्निंग के मॉडल ट्रेन करने में काफी यूज हो रही है. इसके मैलिशियस और ऑफेंसिव साइड पे यूज किए जा सकते हैं, लेकिन फॉर सम रीजन हम इस पर बात नहीं कर रहे हैं.
क्यों नहीं कर रहे? We should ask.
Exactly. मेरा सवाल वही है कि हम क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं.
क्यों नहीं कर रहे? Okay.
For the same reason
you can answer in Hindi also.
No, I will mess up. That's why I'm speaking back in English. I know Hindi. Having said that, this is for the same reason I don't worry about getting stabbed in the night every day when I'm driving back home, because I've not experienced it. So why a society doesn't talk about a problem is because we don't face it enough. It's very simple. If it becomes a problem, we will all tackle it together. Having said that, what are the problems that we are tackling today? We have enough on our hands. Ransomware. It's there. How it gets in, that's there. So that is what we are tackling about. Yes, the future does make sense. And here comes the aspect of application of that. So for example, when I say, I took the example of blockchain. Just a candid question to everybody here. Is the blockchain unhackable? Can it be hacked? Yes. So the thing is that until yesterday, the whole mantra was that it's unhackable. Everybody should move to that. The point is that we don't know what are the implications of it and the applications of it. That's why. Why are we not talking about one particular problem? Maybe enough people haven't faced the problem. But it's a problem. I'm not disputing that.
So I agree with Jacxine. In the morning we were having breakfast and he had a good point. His philosophy, and I like if you can challenge that, is I will cater to a problem once it becomes a problem. Today CISOs have business and 10 other problems. Does the audience have a perspective on that? That should a CISO look at a disrupt tech once it becomes imminent enough, or should it be forthcoming? Yeah.
Sir, one last question. Just a moment, please.
Yeah, please.
हम blockchain पर बात कर रहे हैं जो
Louder. The guy behind should hear you.
Okay. So हम blockchain पर बात कर रहे हैं और मेरे ख्याल से कई साल से इस पर बात कर रहे हैं क्योंकि मार्केट में हाइप बना हुआ है. मेरा बहुत सिंपल सा सवाल है. ऐसी कौन सी प्रॉब्लम है जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड इम्यूटेबल डेटाबेस और मर्केल ट्री से सॉल्व नहीं हो सकती लेकिन ब्लॉकचेन से सॉल्व हो सकती है?
Blockchain experts, you want to respond to him? I don't think we are on the panel qualified to respond. But you got the answer.
रीजन ये है कि ब्लॉकचेन के पीछे के जो सबसे दो बड़े पिलर हैं ये दोनों यही हैं. जो आपका क्रिप्टोग्राफिक हैशिंग का पार्ट आता है वो बेसिकली मर्केल ट्री का प्रॉपर्टी है. जो आपका ये रिकॉर्ड है कि आपका एक ट्रांजैक्शन बाद में ओवरराइट नहीं हो सकता, वो इम्यूटेबिलिटी है. जो आप चीजों को सेंट्रलाइज नहीं कर रहे हैं वो आपका डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड सिस्टम है. और ये चीजें ब्लॉकचेन के कई डिकेड पहले से बैटल टेस्टेड फॉर्म में यूज हो रही हैं. तो फिर हम ब्लॉकचेन पर क्यों जा रहे हैं?
ब्लॉकचेन क्यों कर रहे हैं? Is that the question?
Yes.
For at least I don't have any statistics to back it, but for maybe 50% of the companies, it's FOMO, fear of missing out. My neighbor is doing blockchain, I need to do blockchain. My neighbor is doing artificial intelligence, I will do it. That is why we are doing it. We don't have robotic process automation. Everybody is doing it. Every department wants to do it. Why? That's a serious question. You asked the right question. I think for the last decade, cloudification, take everything to the cloud. And now everybody is bringing some things back from the cloud. For the very same reason, we're doing FOMO.
See, in manufacturing industry also, if you have seen, automations are existing, right? So, be it automated vehicle routing or whatever it is. So, automations were available in manufacturing industry from very long time, okay? But now we are talking about robotic process automations and all that because these technologies are catching up because they are supporting environments which are available. So, same with blockchain also. So, it has been bundled and now it is catching up more.
Good. Thanks, Sandeep. You want to mention something, Ankur?
No, I think, rightly said by Jacxine, I think it's more about FOMO, what people and industry think about it, and that's where investors will also go, that's where more money will be poured in, and that's where the whole work will go into. So I think rightly pointed out, we have problems, we have different solutions, but it's more about what industry perceives.
So Smith, is it FOMO? What is your view, Smith?
It's more like FOMO if you ask me, because it's like competition. If the other guy is doing it, let me go and try to do it. I have one important question, by the way, which is basically for the CISOs. Okay. Now, one interesting thing that has happened is that Cobalt Strike source code has been leaked, and now there have been various players who are basically coming in and creating their own command and controls. And there is a new buzzword which is not letting us sleep. In fact, the CISOs as well, that is human-operated ransomware targeting through Active Directory. Now, how are we going to deal with those situations? And what should be our approach on tackling human-operated ransomware? And especially being the non-commercialization of Cobalt Strike, which used to cost like $75,000 to getting it open source command and controls, which are being plugged and play kind of thing that is happening.
I'll answer your question in a very light way, and then I'll give it to my fellow esteemed CISOs. I think the short answer is hire the best talent from Nullcon. And let them do that, right? But I'll leave it to you. Kumar, you want to mention that?
Sorry, your question was...
Or you can say hire EY. Who hires the best talent?
That's a smart option. Sorry, just to be clear with the question, your question was that if the source code got leaked and then, it is being used. So what exactly is the question?
So Cobalt Strike is basically a command and control entire hacker suit, you can say.
Yeah, that's right.
And the source code of Cobalt Strike is leaked. Now there are different command and controls that have been built in.
But also could be an advantage, right? It's just not a negative thing. If there are cheaper versions coming out, if there are better versions coming out, maybe they can use more of that. So is that a problem?
But same time, hackers are using it for weaponizing and constantly targeting it.
Yeah, so that keeps happening. I mean to say nothing new with that. We heard,
CISO'S
earlier.
do that daily, right? Someone will come out with some tool.
In fact, the Manion got hacked. A lot of, their tools were, allegedly supposed to be, or they were called out, kind of hacked. So it doesn't depend. I mean, it doesn't matter actually, if it's an established tool that got hacked, or there'll be new tools keep coming up.
Let me put it this way. Earlier time, what we used to do is, we used to change the RDP number, or we used to basically change the RDP number from 3389 to something else, or basically because serialized port compromisation used to happen. Now what is happening is there is an attacker who's coming in, who's doing Kerberos roasting, who's doing golden ticket attack, trying to compromise domain controller and spreading into the network, just because of this human operated ransomware.
It's not new, Smith.
No.
It's good to see you though.
Yeah.
After so long.
I think it has got access to a lot amount of people.
No, but it's not new. I mean, human operated ransomware, in fact, Cobalt Strike coming out. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there was variation to that, which is available now to Cobalt Strike, which I believe an Indian has actually written that code,
He's mentioning
right?
that only.
If I'm not mistaken. So they will always find different ones. I mean, I don't necessarily see it as that different.
So his point is CISO sees multiple threads, multiple tools. He only has to combat
What is the first line of defense? EDR, XDRs?
I have a question. I'll just give an example. So let's say crypto or blockchain.
You've written the question down on the phone, reading it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, phone, yeah. So blockchain.
So prepared.
Yeah, blockchain, right? So a few years back, people said, okay, I don't believe in crypto. I don't believe in blockchain.
You don't believe?
People used to say, there are people, they say, okay, I don't believe in Bitcoin. But you see, now in the crypto winter, a lot of people they're losing job. But even if they believe or not believe, their life is getting impacted. So in the same way, I believe it will grow a lot. So my question is, how hands-on CISOs should be in this disruptive technology? Because these are new technologies and they are creating impact on people's life very fast.
That's a planted question. Kumar, you want to answer?
Yeah. So again, I think maybe I'm not able to hear it well.
His question is, and the whole topic discussion, how technical should CISOs be? He said 2 years back, they said crypto won't affect us, blockchain won't affect us, but now it's here. How technical should CISOs be, and how should they become technical besides hiring the best talent?
Get it.
How should they themselves improvise it to get ahead of the curve and advise and secure the companies?
Sure. Thanks for translating. So,
that's a question,
what
right?
I would say is that, a person cannot be technical in all the technologies, especially when the technologies are changing, when the world is transforming at the speed of, the BAU. So it's always good to have as much technical knowledge that you have, but at some point in time, for you to be a CISO, it doesn't only need to be, the hands-on and the very much technical part of it, unless you are into a, service provider business where it is all the more relevant. But the idea is to understand how the security threat landscape is changing, what are the new disruption and transformations are, happening. So what happens when a technology changes, the transformation happens, it is just that the battleground is changing, right? The fundamentals of security would remain same. You have to ensure the CI is you still have to ensure the right authentication, authorization. So just that its manifestation changes when the new technologies come in, right? Blockchain, it has got its own set of, unique, I would say vulnerabilities, but the existing ones, they do very well still apply to those. So the idea is to have the right set of people, to have a right sense of where the industry is moving, and, sticking it to the goal, prioritizing your, areas of your focus. And that's how it should be a strategy. So CISO is, I would not say a pure play, technical role. You have people to do the technical jobs and we should let them to do, those kind of things. You should be more, strategic and holistic and looking at, to the IT and, corporate governance.
Thanks. So, I don't know if many of you know Rahul, but India's most prominent leader in IT, security, leadership, everything. Rahul, today's topic discussion is, and you will write about it, I'm sure, disruptive technologies and CISO's careers. If they probably don't catch up, it could affect the career, or somebody could take that. You've taken a long time to come to that seat on the table. What's your perspective if you write about it? How does a CISO get so adept at new technology which changes so fast? Blockchain, AI, crypto, we had digital twin for Earth, biohacking, autonomous vehicles, AI, VR, 5G, unmanned vehicles. How should a CISO be able to adapt to all this technically?
Okay, so, my answer to that is that let's not treat CISO as a god.
As God?
Yeah. So
I thought they were gods.
Let CISOs be humans. And, as a human, you have your limitations, you have your urge to learn as well. However, the kind of environment that I am seeing and witnessing these days, there's a lot of stress being put and a lot of onus being put on a CISO that, CISO will solve every damn problem which exists in an organization as far as cybersecurity is concerned. So, on one hand, we say that CISO has to have the business acumen, business knowledge, communication skills. On the other hand, we say that he or she has to have the technical skills and knowledge on technologies. So, there has to be a blend of both for sure, but there are limitations that one has to live with. And to me, the approach for a CISO should be that they should know the application of technology to solve the problem.
This is what Jacxine is mentioning.
Not the actual technicalities of those technologies.
Thanks, Rahul. Lovely inputs. I've got Nandan, who runs one of the biggest SIEM product tools out here. Nandan, your perspective, because you are selling stuff to CISOs, right? How equipped are CISOs to talk that language? You have an AI/ML solution.
Yes.
Give me your views.
I think it is just imperative for your existence. And
it's imperative for their existence.
I believe so, because you can't just block yourself out and live in a shell and say this is not happening around. It is definitely happening, and being able to put that into perspective, because you are charged with a specific job to make sure that you are securing your organization. It's like when leaders fail, then it's a major catastrophe. So you are at that helm. You are the one who's in charge of making sure that your cognitive abilities are also at the forefront to make sure that you're always keeping, abreast with the technology and making sure that the organization is always on top. So,
So you're saying it's imperative. There's no choice.
I believe so. Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't sell to them.
Yeah. I don't want to even say this is an hype or whatever.
He's not answered that. Yeah, one more mic here, please. Thank you. Okay. You can stand up and talk.
So just a small interjection here.
I can get you here also.
Yeah, so the interjection is that, being a CISO, you may have now got an understanding that how many CISOs come from a technology and technical background. If there are more CISOs coming from non-technical background, that means something.
Is that good, bad?
No, it's a good thing. Then you have a blend of both. That you have an understanding of applying technology on business issues, but you don't really need to have deep understanding of technology. That's
but the audience is saying get them technical. He's saying he won't sell to them. I think you're the lady and the gentleman. Yeah. So while they answer your perspective, Ankur, he won't sell to you if you're not taken enough.
No, so I don't really think CISOs have to be hands-on. Hands-on is a very wide word where you actually think about, I'm started to code or I'm finding security issues or something of that sort. No, I don't think we probably will have time to be hands-on, but I think there are a lot of disruptions happening. We still have to be very, very aware of what disruptions can do to our company. And then it makes sense for my company to adapt it, and I should adapt it with it, right? So that's very important. I don't need to be hands-on expert, but then I have to be technically sound to understand such technologies. I should be able to talk to a junior candidate in my team and understand what he's trying to say.
So, yeah, please go ahead. He's saying he doesn't have to be hands-on. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. For example, if there's a CIO, do we say that CIO should be coding? CIO should be knowing the coding. Do we say that? No, right? Because there are hundreds of technology. CIO can't code, right? So why are we limiting the CISO role as the technology only, right? I think cybersecurity is beyond technology. We talk about cybersecurity to be an integral part of the business, which has to start from product design to the process design and then the technology design. Technology design is only a means of getting the controls, right? But it has to start from the basic. And there are two different roles. One is the cybersecurity and second is the technology risk. If you know only the technology, then you are a technology risk person and not a CISO. So I think it has to be, I go with the panel saying that you should be able to correlate the dot. You should be able to connect the dots, make a scenario, and also see what is the business impact of it. So in the coding, like earlier, what we used to talk 15, 20 years back, like it should be a techno-functional when you have to grow. Even from cybersecurity perspective, it should be a techno-functional. So that's my stake as a CISO.
Thank you. I think the gentleman ahead of you wants to speak. Yep. Ahead of you and behind. Yep. Go ahead. Can you get more mics, please?
I'll echo the same sentiments that the lady just said, that the foundation
Is CISO a career path for you? Is CISO a career path for you?
So, the
He
point
must be
is that
sitting with his boss. Be careful.
Who's the CISO? Good one. You have to speak good.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Otherwise he'll employ you.
So the foundation of any security program lies with the inherent understanding of risk, and that is what we want a CISO to contribute on. So whether we have a disruptive technology like digital twin for Earth, or crypto, or quantum, or any other thing coming like that. So as long as the CISO is able to contribute, how does this impact the business function? Then I think he's doing his job. We don't want a CISO probably. I mean, if he can code in Python and do
so fair point. We all agree the balance is good. The most important point on this session is how. We all agree, CISOs, and Jacxine, over to you. How should a CISO, being ignorant is not good. That clearly the audience's voices, don't be ignorant. You have to be there. You can't completely be on that because, as she said, changes happen fast. But how, step by step, would a CISO get at least be able to talk 1 hour, or be challenge a vendor, or be able to have a meaningful discussion with someone? How does one CISO adapt to that?
See, I'll just slightly separate the two things. See, one, when I say that, should I be worried about this to the gentleman's question? The thing is that if it doesn't impact my business today. Now, for example, I'll give you an example of what we're talking about, either aerial unmanned vehicles, drones, for example, or unmanned ground vehicles. Now, the research and the activities around this has been going on for a decade, in fact more, right? I mean, everybody's seen the progress that's happening. Now, should I go and understand intimately how an unmanned vehicle works and everything right now in my job position? Maybe not. But tomorrow, if my airport decides, hey, listen, we have a controlled environment on the air side. No, there are very specific speed limits. There are lanes through which the vehicles today, which are manned, which people, and you guys have all gone to, everybody has gone to an airport. You've seen on the air side how the land vehicles move, right? Along a particular line, particular speed, they cannot exceed, they cannot overtake. Very defined set of rules. Amazing, a sandbox to try out an unmanned ground vehicle over there. When it comes to that, then yes, as a CISO, I have to be intimately involved and understand how this works. A decade ago, why would I be? Was there an application over here? For the very same reason, I don't understand, to the gentleman's question, how everything in cryptocurrency works. I don't. And to your question, I just want to answer, I will fail. Not I have failed, I will fail. And that's process of life. So as a CISO also, I will fail. So my point is that at that point of time, yes, how it applies, what is the use case for my role that I have to apply to it, and that is why I will look into it.
Thanks, well answered. Kumar?
Yeah, so I think pretty much, I think even the response would be, it is actually a balanced role. You have to have multifaceted. It's not only a hands-on technical. That's just one part of it. There are a lot of other things that come with a leadership role, whether it's in security, IT, or any other field. I think with the CISO role, a sense of prioritization, the risk-based approach, financial management, people management, I think that's what is a comprehensive, leadership role it is, whether it is, like I said, in security or IT or finance or HR. So, but the point is, your eye should be on the target, where the, vision of the organization is, where the threat landscape is moving. Are you having a right sense of not only today, but how the future is gonna be? Like DevOps, DevSecOps is a classical example. As a CISO, you have to make sure when the development is happening at the speed of business, then how do you ensure that the security is happening there? Now, it's not a very technical hands-on onto everything, but if you know how it works, how the business is functioning, you will be very well able to integrate the security into the fabric of the organization. So that's what
Thanks.
Yeah, so I would also echo with what Jacxine and Kumar have told. So it's a more of a generalist kind of a role. Okay, so threat is one side of it. There's a part of compliance which comes. Okay, there's a part of risk management which comes. Okay, so saying that you need to still understand the technology, like Jacxine was saying, at least the areas which you are using in your organization or you are likely to use in the future. You definitely need to understand the technology and how it can be applied or how it is applied. Okay, so that way, I think to that extent, yes, you should.
I'll ask Rahul a question back. Jacxine mentioned clearly the steps that when it comes to him, he'll get tuned to it. But you as an editor of a magazine and running, and if you had a story, how do you believe CISO should be adept at new gen technologies? What should be a learning path for them? Besides reading your magazine, I'm just saying on a lighter note, but if they had to chart a learning curve, would they go and hire 5 guys? So mentee-mentor cycles have changed, right? Earlier we thought we were mentoring young generations. Today many of these will be mentoring us on new tech. Because if you're not having a mentor who's a young kid, we aren't learning. So with the mentee-mentor cycle being turned and the mentor being a young kid and we being the mentees for new tech, how do you see this?
I'm sure, a lot of it comes from, in today's age, a lot of it comes from the peer sharing, peer learning, and it also comes from the partnerships that a CISO forges with multiple stakeholders, not only from within the organization, from the technology vendors, technology providers, consulting organizations. Person like you can be a great mentor to a CISO on an incident response communication plan, for that matter. And when it comes to the technology, you spoke about the knowledge on how should they grow their knowledge on technology. So I think that's also a gradual process. As Jacxine said, that if it is mandatory for him to know that how an unmanned vehicle travels on that path in the airport, then it is very essential for him to know in going in depth of that. Otherwise, a superficial knowledge would be fine to me. I'm not sure.
I like the word superficial. Ajit, over to you. You try and sell, and I know hard one. I know you're not prepared for this. You come in the front row, it's too tempting. All right. You try and sell the next generation innovation to CISOs. What is your perspective of them? Where do you think, how should they understand your technologies? How ready should they be in next gen tech?
Yeah, so CISOs have been very receptive. They appreciate and they try to analyze with whatever use cases they have, the challenges they have. If it maps to their requirements, then then they take it ahead. But they are very empathetic with new innovations and very keen to learn about it.
Okay, thanks. Question to the audience. Yeah.
Question.
Mike here, please.
I have one question.
Okay, after him.
Yeah. So, latching on to what Jacxine said we'll have to take it when it comes to us or when we are faced with the threat. How do you see the current the Indian privacy law that's going to come into existence probably, and also the kind of tightening of the government agencies with the kind of awareness that they have on the public forums or the public platform? So how do you see, is that going to be really disrupting the life of a CISO, or is that something that you need to be prepared for, or?
I think they pulled back the law.
Correct.
So
it's something that's going to be around the corner, let's say.
Forget it for the next, when did they start talking about the law? I think it was
19, I think.
No,
he's saying whenever it comes. I think I'll rephrase this
whenever
question.
it comes. Do you think we should
be more tougher, stringent?
I think it came so close to the finish line that all the CISOs got pretty worried about it, and I don't know. I'm not speaking on behalf of my colleagues and peers, but I remember and being in discussions telling all my vendors, do you have data center here or outside? Bring everything here. Because I don't know what the government is going to do tomorrow. So you bring everything here. So yes, that was a concern. And I think to a great extent, naturally, India as a nation has economically boomed so much that every major presence is already here now. So I think from a data perspective, with regards to localization, it's taken care. Now comes about due diligence that we have to exercise. I think, why wait for a law? Do it today. privacy is a key aspect for every person sitting not only here but in India. I think it's something we have to do essentially today. Take permissions, take consent, process only as much as you need. And if your services are that good, your customers will want to share more with you. Having said that, we already know that everybody's data is out there and it's leaking.
Breached multiple times.
Yeah, let me just add to that. See, what we have also started doing is like we say design, security by design and all that. So these days we are talking about privacy by design, right? So right at the design stage, you take care of all the aspects of data privacy. So it will come naturally.
So another question with respect to the law in place, like certain India has got a new law of reporting initiatives in 6 hours and maintaining a 180 days of backup. What is CISO's views on that? How has it been taken in the industry outside?
So I'll tell you, because we speak to a lot of CISOs, I think CISOs have taken that very seriously. I think the first part was even NTP clocks. Now, why did the NTP clock sync request come in? Because if you are certain and you are seeing an attack on a sector, and there's even a 3-minute time difference between 5 companies, your logs and forensics go for a toss. So the logic behind that is to safeguard the country, to make it more secure. So, our CISOs preparing for it? Yes, I myself had about 43 sessions with different CISOs, with one PE company having 87 investments in India. So yeah, CISOs are talking about it. Many of them have begun the compliance journey. Some are finished, some are in different phases. But more or less, by and large, we had 87 CISOs on a mind map exercise where they came and contributed. So they are talking, they are in different phases of compliance. Some have accepted it open-handedly, saying, wow, use this law to get more funding, which is a great smart move, right? Tell the CEO, CFOs that this is law, you have to get mandated, give me more money, get me a SOC provider. For SOC providers, again, great because you have a mandate, you can't report if you don't have logs. So the industry of cybersecurity has also got a boom with that. There are positives, they're hiring more, more tools of cyber are being spoiled, more innovations happening in cyber, more startups are happening in cyber. So a lot of subsequent cyber goodwill which it is creating for the entire cyber market in India. More startups, more people, more jobs, more CISO prominence. So those are positive things. Absolutely. So is his neck on the line.
One more question in line that only, sir. Where do you see India after maybe 5 years in cybersecurity as CISOs of reputed companies?
Look around you. It's very promising.
Absolutely.
CISO's point of view of the reputed companies.
That CISOs
this is the future of CISOs.
Absolutely.
This is the future.
I take it that way.
Well said. And I don't think we'll be behind in any other country in any form. With talent like this, the only part is how much of this talent remains in India, how much it goes abroad. Right? If this best talent, and I'm sure people are wooing for this talent, why won't India? This is the future of cyber in India. Yes, sir. The green t-shirt. 2 minutes, yes, I know.
We talk a lot about SOC operations, source services these days. So I just wanted to...
Why these days? I thought these guys spoke for last 10 years.
Off late. So I just want to have your take on, do you prefer cloud or remote SOC services like MDR and those things, or the on-site team handling the operations, SOC operations in your control? What is your take on that? Remote or on-premise SOC operations?
See, technology or tool doesn't matter. What matters is people who can identify the threats for you. Okay. You can have an on-prem tool or you can have a cloud-based. Okay. But finally, what matters is people who can identify threats or who can do threat hunting for you and help you out in identifying threats proactively.
I'll answer your question with a saying. The old English saying which says, cut your coat cloth according to the size. It doesn't really matter. If you got more money to spend, do it in-house. But it doesn't mean off-site is bad. Many companies are doing off-site and doing equally good. But if you got more money, if you got more funding, if you have more regulation, you're working for big bucks, have it in-house. Perfectly all right. One last question. Sorry.
To be honest, just to add there, if it's the same cost, same functionality, I think I would rather, my personal opinion, I would rather prefer cloud because it takes away a lot of, kind of underlying infrastructure management from you. There could be certain challenges from a regulatory or legal compliances perspective, where the data is flowing, how it is being tracked. There could be certain clients who could influence you. But if everything is taken care of, I think cloud is something, my preference.
Okay, last 1 minute. You have a question and then I'll ask my own question. Yep. Go ahead with it.
Hello. Yeah. So my question is essentially kind of echoing to a lot of factors that we spoke about. One of them being reduced time to market, right? So when we talk about reduced time to market, we start developing decentralized trust, like cloud SOCs or like my cybersecurity workloads being managed in the cloud, or I start talking about trusting something like Pure ID, right, to manage my credentials. But when I'm doing all of that, one thing that I'm developing is security being somebody else's responsibility and me monitoring them, right? Which is where posture becomes a very critical aspect. That I'm looking at, say, something like Obsidian doing a lot of work for me, or something like a posture management giving me a certification to prove whether security is good for me or not. But so with that being
what's
said,
the question?
So with that being said, how does that come into the perspective of CISOs adopting decentralized trust for a security service in general?
I'll answer your first question and give to the audience. I think whoever does it for you, responsibility fair and square lies on the CISO's shoulders. There's no way you could say somebody else's problem. Jacxine can add more to that.
It's my problem. I can outsource to Kingdom Come. I could be the only person left in the entire security department. But if anything happens, it's my problem. So there is no accountability finally rests. But having said that, I just want to add, see, shifting it outside doesn't mean, see, I understand when a CISO's vocabulary, this might sound very mundane and boring, but governance plays a huge role over here. And when I say governance, it adds the aspect of what Burgess has been speaking about. You can't govern a partner on cybersecurity if you don't understand cybersecurity. If your go-to market is, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks because you're that great at it, it should include security. If your security is not inbuilt into that go-to market strategy for 2 weeks, then I'm sorry, you are a bad product developer because you haven't factored that in. You don't sell a car without the tires, right? Why would you sell a software, no matter how great it is, without it being secure? Same reason. Okay. So,
last set of 2 questions. Jacxine rightly mentioned the future of India as in talent out here. If you, as a future talent, had a mentee-mentor relationship, what would be your ask of CISOs? And then as closing comments, the CISOs give it back to you. What will be their ask of you when they would go and future build their teams with you and as audience members? So audience, if you had to have a mentor-mentee relationship with the best CISOs, what would be your aspiration or ask of these CISOs? Adokshaj, anybody? What would be your ask of CISOs? What would you expect them to be in life? To be able to have? Yeah, go ahead. CISOs next?
Career path.
Career path. Okay. So you want to dislodge him, so you want to take his place.
I mean, no, that's how you know, right? What they are aspiring to. So they become inspiration.
Okay, he'll answer that. Anybody else? What is your advice or request of CISOs? Audience? Yeah. Yeah, 3-4 hands up.
Actually, that's something similar to the question there. So, how does a CSO supposed to react when they are threatened by emerging threat or the disruptive threat? So how do they make sure that their career is not threatened?
Okay, so next gen tech, yeah, here. And then closing comments from each of you.
Always.
Living on a thin line.
So I would like to say, since you told about the mentor-mentee relation, how we can build. So, because I am very new to security, so often like sometimes I reach out to people for advice. So I understand that being a CISO, you are very busy. So I believe if you want to build a good relation with the younger generation, these days like we have LinkedIn and Twitter, maybe you should take out some time from your busy schedule and maybe you can answer some questions. Like recently I asked a few questions to one of the CISO of a big company, Indian company. I asked him like how I should grow. Even today in the breakfast win talk, right? When I asked you like how I should grow my career, then you told me.
So advice is listen and talk more to young generation.
True.
So you can get inputs. That's a very valid point.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
often it's very difficult for us to connect with you. It becomes very difficult. So if that line can be breached,
why? why are we so difficult to connect?
Is it a perception or is it reality?
Is it perception or reality?
It's some kind of perception also, and also it's a reality. But I can understand that you are very busy. But maybe CISOs or people in the higher position, they should take out some time and talk with the younger generation and ask their issues.
It's a very
or
valid
problem.
point. Even if you don't do it, do it. If you're doing it, great, continue it.
True.
Thank you. So, starting from you, your closing comments. Future generation technology is the best guys to hire. What's your advice to them?
I think talk to us more. We are reachable. Nobody, I think, in our community will feel like you can't reach out to us. You reach out to us, but then I think my motive finally, as somebody asked, what is our career progression from now? I would love to create more CISO in the industry and I think make change to the world. I think there are many disruptions happening in the industry. There are more companies coming in India. We would need more CISOs which can handle such scale.
Thank you.
Sure. So I think my advice would be, I think this Nullcon, it's all very hardcore, technical, kind of sessions, workshops happening, and it's really, kind of very exciting to see these kind of discussions and workshops happening at a large scale. So I think I'm very, I would say, happy to see that the future generation which is coming up is very well on, on the cybersecurity landscape from a defensive and offensive both perspective. Keep learning that, and more and more hands-on that you get in, kind of this phase of your life is gonna lay a very great and, a solid foundation. Although the transformation is happening, very fast, and as you become CISO, maybe, whatever time down the line, the technologies and all will keep on changing, but more and more technology fundamentals and, the foundational layers that you keep making strong will always help you. That will always remain with you. So that would be my advice to you guys.
Thanks, Kumar. The more technical, the more employable, the more they can take your role, as you mentioned.
That's okay. That happens.
Jacxine.
My just parting comment is that, see, I've met quite a few people over here. They've explained to me amazing products and amazing work that they're doing. At the end of the day, sell value, not products. When you are talking not just to a CISO, to a CIO, to a CEO, sell value, not products. If they don't see value in what you are giving them, it doesn't matter how great your product is. So remember that when you talk and engage with senior leaders.
Well done. Thanks.
Yeah. So I was also discussing with some of you during the day. Okay. So you guys are doing an amazing job, and the level of technical hands-on what you have is also great. Okay. So I completely agree with Jacxine what he has told. Okay. When you are talking with a CISO or any of the leaders, it's value which always matters. Okay, so as long as you are able to sell that value or give that value proposition, okay, that's all it matters.
Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks, Jacxine. Thanks, Kumar. Thanks, Ankur. With this, we come to a close. Great panel discussion. Thank you, lovely audience. Thank you, hidden questioners. Thank you so much.